नमस्कार सभी को. This video I will be discussing about what is elasticity of demand, what is the price elasticity of demand, its percentage, and the forms of percent elasticity of demand. That means what are the types of elasticity of demand. So demand, the rule of demand says if there is increase in price, other things being constant, the demand will decrease, and if there is decrease in price, the demand will increase. So with this we can conclude that there is a inverse relation between price and demand. If price increases, demand will decrease. If price decreases, demand will increase. Therefore it is said the relation between price and demand is inverse or negative. Now, elasticity of demand. Elasticity, this topic helps you to understand. Okay, we understood that if price increases, demand decreases. But if price increases, say for by 10%, how much it affects the demand and by what percentage? So, elasticity basically tells you in a numerical expressions that how much percent is increasing in price that affecting the demand, how much it leads to decrease in demand. So you talks about the percentage, what change in percentage in price lets the decrease in demand, by what percentage. So elasticity you talk about in numerical expression in percentage form. Definitely the rule will be following here the same. If price increases, demand will definitely decrease. But what percent? By what percent price is increasing that is affecting the demand to decrease. So let's see in the left hand side, as you can see, percentage or proportionate. Price elasticity of demand tells you that if there is a percentage increase in price, so then the response, it basically tells the degree of responsiveness, the degree of responsiveness of change in price that leads to the change in demand. So I use the word here degree of responsiveness. This degree depends upon these 5 types of elasticity, as you can see the arrows. Unitary elastic, more than unitary elastic, less than unitary elastic, perfectly inelastic, and perfectly elastic. So these are the degrees of price elastic. That means that these 5 types of elasticity helps you to understand what is the degree of changing in price which is proportionately affecting its demand. So the percentage or proportionate of flux method. The formula is ED. This ED represents E for elasticity and D for demand. So the formula is percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. Or there is another alternative formula for this, ED. Here you remember I have put a minus sign in the bracket, and that minus sign, with the help of arrow I have written there, that minus sign indicates inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. This minus is nothing, it is not a mathematically, it does not have any work mathematically, but this minus is actually representing and reminding you that there is a relationship, the relationship between price and demand is always negative. Now let's look into the formula delta Q, that delta that represents your change in quantity upon change in price multiplied with initial price upon initial quantity. So this delta Q, the formula is Q1. Q1 represents your new quantity. Everything will be mentioned in the question. Minus Q. That Q is your initial quantity. Then delta P, where P1 minus P. That means new price minus initial price. And P and Q, which is in the formula which is used, it is the initial price and initial quantity. So the left hand side basically tells you the degree of price elasticity, or alternatively you may understand that there are 5 types of price elasticity of demand. The formula for that is percentage change in quantity demanded upon percentage change in price, or change in quantity upon change in price multiplied with P upon, that means initial price upon initial quantity. Now remember one thing, always use this minus sign, and this minus sign should be in the middle of the line. Do not use minus in nor in the numerator, neither in the numerator nor in the denominator. This minus sign should be in front of the middle line. Now on the right side I have given the description. Like the first, let's start with the perfectly inelastic. Perfectly inelastic tells you, if you see the figures, the price is 4, the demand's constant, and the demand is 10. Now when price increases, the demand stays the constant. So you see here there is a change in price, but there is no change in demand. So that represents, now after applying this formula, delta Q upon delta P. So formula for this is new quantity minus old quantity. So here new quantity and old quantity both are 10. So 10 minus 10 gives you 0. And new price is 5 and old price is 4. So 5 minus 4 gives you 1. Multiplied with original price, which is 4, and original quantity, which is 10. So in that you will get the answer 0. Therefore, it derives the value of 0. So perfectly inelastic is that relationship where there is a change in price but the demand stays constant. Now if you look into the figure, x axis, which is the vertical one, which is the horizontal one, that represents your quantity, and y, which is the vertical one, that represents your price. My initial price was P, as I've drawn there. Now as my price increased, the arrow is showing upward, but the quantity remains the same. Therefore, there is just one single vertical line for showing that quantity remains the same, constant. So this is about perfectly inelastic. Then second is perfectly elastic. Now you see here, the price is same whereas the demand changes. Like when the price was 4, demand was 10 quantity. Now when price is 4, demand increases with 20 quantities. Now after applying this in the formula as you can see there, PED, that means price elasticity of demand, is equal to change in quantity upon change in price. So change in quantity, you see new quantity is 20 minus initial quantity, which is 10, that gives you 10, and upon delta price, that means your new price is P minus old price is new price is 4 and minus old price is 4. So 4 minus 4 gives you 0, multiplied with 4 upon 10. That means your initial price was 4 divided by initial demand. So this gives you the answer infinite, right? Because any number divided by 0 always gives the answer infinite. If 0 in the numerator, the answer always be infinite. If 0 in the numerator, then answer will be 0. Then the third one is unitary elastic. Unitary elastic, you see here, when the price is 10, demand is 20. Now when price becomes 5, demand is 30. So you see here, after applying the formula, change in quantity, where you see 30 minus 20. New quantity is 30 minus 20 upon 5 minus 10 into 10 upon 20. So this way, after cancelling out, you will get the answer 1. So if you see the formula there, if you see the diagram there, y-axis the price, x-axis the quantity. Whatever the change in price, it is the same that the change in price quantity. Say for if price is decreased by 10%, then remember quantity will increase by 10%. The change in price is equivalent to the change in quantity. This is the fundamental of unitary elastic. I think I have skipped the perfectly elastic diagram. Let's look into the point number 2. If you see here, the price is represented in the y-axis and quantity is represented in the x-axis. You see there, price is same whereas quantity differs. Therefore, price, which is same, has been shown with an horizontal demand curve line. Then the point number 4, more than elastic. Now if you see the figures, price is 30 and demand is 100. Now when price is 20, demand increases by 400. So you see here the demand increases by a good amount of percentage. After applying into the formula, change in quantity, that is 400 minus 100 upon change in price, that is 20 minus 30 into 30 upon, which is the initial quantity is 100. So after cancelling out, you will get the answer 9. As the degree is more than elastic, so your answer will always be more than 1. Now if you see this diagram, x-axis which shows the quantity and y-axis which shows the price. Here the price decreases with small percentage, but the small percentage change in price leads to the greater percentage change in quantity. The percentage change in price is smaller than the percentage change in quantity. Then the less than elastic. Less than elastic, here you see the price is 50 and demand is 100. Now when price reduced to 40, demand becomes 105. So after applying the formula, change in quantity, that is initial quantity, the new quantity 105 minus initial quantity, that is 100, that gives you 5 divided by change in price, your initial price, new price minus initial price, right? So 40 minus 50 into 50 upon 100. This 50 is your initial price and 100 is your initial quantity. So after cancelling out, you will get the answer 0.25, which is less than 1. Therefore, it is said as less than elastic. Now look into the diagram. X-axis represents quantity and Y-axis represent price. So you see here the change in price, okay, the change in price is greater than change in quantity. It is just opposite of the more than elastic. That means the price increasing with more percentage than the change in demand. So these are the 5 degrees of elasticity. Perfectly inelastic where ED value is 0, perfectly elastic where ED value is infinite, unitary elastic where ED value is 1, more than elastic where ED is greater than 1, and less than elastic where ED is less than 1. ED is more than 1 in the more than elastic and ED is less than 1 in less than elastic.